Hey, what's going on? How are you doing? Yeah, whatever. I'm all right. Just chilling. Yo, yo. That's right. What?
Good. How's it going back there? That's good.
J-Bones is my man. J-Bones is my man.
All right, thank you.
Tonight at 10, a Quincy woman wants to see change come to an intersection where her son died 3 years ago. I'm Jack Pluto live in Quincy with that story coming up.
Ray is the reason you can't kill your parents and inherit the farm.
Plus, a look at a mass murder outside of Payson, Illinois, and why no one was ever convicted in the 100-year-old case.
Plus, Fort Madison's police chief steps down. We'll have those stories right now on KHQA News at 10.
This is KHQA News at 10, working for you.
You are looking at a live aerial view of protesters in the streets of Chicago following the release of the video showing a police officer shooting and killing a black teenager.
Now, the protesters chanted 16 shots and blocked traffic at an intersection on South State Street. Dashboard camera video from October of last year shows the shooting of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. The teenager died after being shot 16 times by police. The officer who shot him, Jason Van Dyke, faces charges of first-degree murder and is being held without bond. This is the first time in almost 35 years that an on-duty Chicago police officer has been charged with first-degree murder.
Meanwhile, in Quincy, a shooting suspect is at large after an overnight shooting in Quincy.
Police responded to the 700 block of North 4th Street just before midnight last night. Quincy Police Deputy Chief Doug Vandermaiden says when officers arrived, they found a man with gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead on scene. Adams County Coroner Jim Keller identified the man as 48-year-old Carlos Wires. Police say this was not a random act and an investigation is underway, and Vandermaiden says crimes such as this one are essential in the early hours to find potential leads.
24 hours, they're just working nonstop on these type of cases to make sure we're not missing anything and we get as many details as we can. The neighborhood will notice an increase in police presence. When you have a tragic event like this in neighborhoods, we definitely want to be in there and make sure they're safe.
Now, police say if you have any information about the shooting, you can contact Quincy Police Department or Quincy Regional Crime Stoppers.
3 family members and a school teacher butchered with an axe. The 1912 Adams County murder case is alive and well today, cited in 80 court cases. Tonight's cold case takes you to Payson more than 100 years ago.
Ray is the reason you can't kill your parents and inherit the farm.
But that's exactly what Ray Pfanschmidt was accused of doing. It all started in late September 1912. Charles Pfanschmidt, his wife Matilda, their 14-year-old daughter Blanche, and schoolteacher Emma Campen were brutally killed with an axe in this area in the family's home about 5 miles northwest of Payson.
And they ended up pulling the tin roof off, and what they found was just horrifying. 3 women upstairs in their beds, and then the trunk of what turned out to be Charles Pfanschmidt was found in the ruins of the basement.
Author Beth Lane says suspicion fell on the couple's 20-year-old son, Ray. He was living in a camp near what's now known as the Illinois Veterans Home in Quincy.
And they ended up arresting him. They couldn't find much evidence, but that's the story of the crime.
That so-called evidence involved finding tiny blood spots on Ray's work clothes and using bloodhounds to track a trail back to Ray's camp.
It was purely circumstantial.
Ray Pfanschmidt was convicted in Adams County and scheduled to hang in 1913.
He got an appeal through at the very last minute.
The Illinois Supreme Court reversed that judgment and ordered a change of venue. Ray went on to be tried in Macomb and Princeton, where he was acquitted at both trials.
It was an extraordinarily expensive trial.
Ray inherited his parents' property and sold it to pay his legal fees. Whether Ray Pfanschmidt committed these murders or not remains a mystery, but the use of circumstantial evidence and bloodhounds in murder trials that stemmed from this case is still cited in court cases today.
I think that it's another case of how Quincy influences things in this country in ways we don't even know.
Now, author and Payson native Beth Lane, who you just heard from, has written a book about the Pfanschmidt murders. It's called Lies Told Under Oath, and you can buy it at the former Gardner Museum in Quincy. A portion of the sales goes back to the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County. You also can find it on Amazon.
Well, the search is on for a new police chief as the former Fort Madison chief has stepped down from his position. Fort Madison City Manager David Varley says former Chief Bruce Niggemeyer resigned his position Friday and now will serve as a captain within the department. Niggemeyer did not give a reason for stepping down, and an interim chief will take over duties early next week.
Now, your exclusive 7 Storm Team forecast.
And we're looking at pretty mild conditions outside right now on this late November day as we watch an approaching storm system that's going to give us a little bit of dicey weather across the tri-states in the coming days. We'll take a look outside right now. Still hanging on to 50 degrees here in Quincy. Winds out of the south-southeast right now at 10 miles per hour. We're going to have that southerly wind with us for the next few days. Right now you can see the cool spot up to the north there, Fort Madison, Macomb, and out to west in Kirksville. And some 50s out in the tri-states right now, even at Keokuk holding on to 52 degrees. The satellite radar showing those clouds starting to thicken up a little bit. You can see them kind of streaming in from the west, and we're going to continue to see those clouds increase through the night tonight. We'll drop a few degrees here in Quincy to the mid-40s, I think, by midnight. Keep that wind out of the south at 10 miles per hour. And tomorrow, we're going to see cloudy conditions through the majority of the day. Temperatures will be warm again, getting up into the mid-50s with an outside chance for rain showers. I'll tell you more about that Thanksgiving forecast and a look at your weekend all ahead in my full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Ross Roger, back to you guys.
Well, new tonight at 10, a Quincy mother wants to see changes made to a busy intersection in Quincy. She decided to take action after her son lost his life when he was hit by a car near that intersection. KHQA's Jack Pluta joins us live from 52nd and Broadway in Quincy with more on the changes Anna Cowgill wants to see made. Jack?
Well, Ross, it's the intersection of 52nd Street and Broadway, which is right in front of me, but it was right behind me, where 29-year-old Paul Cowgill lost his life after being struck by a car while trying to cross the street. Now, fearing for the lives of others, his mother Anna wants to make sure this stretch of road is safer for everybody.
I'm going to wipe it off real quick for you.
On a cool fall day,
We come out here a lot and take care of him.
Anna Cowgill wipes off the tombstone she had made for her son Paul, who was laid to rest about 100 yards away from where he died.
Paul got killed right here. on Broadway. He was crossing across the street. He was walking. Paul loved to walk.
April 11th, 2012. Paul was walking south across Broadway when he was hit by an SUV.
Oh, that was horrible. Yeah, because Paul is my baby. Yeah, nobody should ever lose what they love the most. And I miss Paul every day.
Now, Anna says it's time for something to be done by the busy intersection to spare the lives of others who could be hit in the future.
They're going to need to time this out because it's too much. And they're going to need to put some sidewalks. They're going to need to have longer pedestrian lights, and they're going to need to have very clear defined lights. Like right now, the light's green. Okay, some people think that they don't have to wait for an arrow, so they just go.
Cowgill says she's been in touch with the mayor and Illinois Department of Transportation about ways to make the intersection safer. She was told IDOT will evaluate the area in the coming weeks. Her goal is to make sure no other parent gets a phone call saying their child has died.
You know, we need to just stop. We need to just stop what's going on and make a plan and have a clear objective and a goal. And it needs to work out really well for the city and for our community because nobody deserves to get hurt or injured.
Now, Cowgill tells me she plans to keep up with her request until something is done about the situation. She wants the death of her son to spark change where she believes it's truly needed. Reporting live in Quincy, I'm Jack Pluto. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Well, still to come, Adams County continues to grow its workforce by introducing 8th graders to area professionals. That story and more straight ahead on KHQA News at 10.
You're watching KHQA News at 10, working for you.
As the country remains divided over the Syrian refugee crisis, there's little argument over the problem of homegrown terrorism and how it's on the rise.
Our national correspondent Jeff Barnes reports on what our law enforcement community is currently dealing with when it comes to U.S. citizens waging jihad here at home.
The barbarians are not just at the gates, they're inside the gates.
Eric Steckelbeck is the author of ISIS Exposed and says there's an alarming number of Americans pledging allegiance to ISIS. In the last 18 months, the Department of Homeland Security says at least 66 men and women were charged with ISIS-related terror plots on American soil.
The FBI Director James Comey said recently that we have 900 active cases into ongoing ISIS-related activity in all 50 U.S. states.
Director Comey is a pretty reasonable guy. He's very concerned, and he has investigations going on, not just people trying to get in, but people that are in the United States already.
According to the research group New America, there are currently 54 homegrown jihadists either indicted or killed in 2015. And since 2001, the average age of a homegrown jihadist has been 28, and they're overwhelmingly male. Among several recent cases, the 2 Arizona roommates who in May opened fire in Garland, Texas at a Mohammed cartoon contest. Both were killed by police. Usama Rahim, who police say wanted to behead the organizer of that contest in the name of ISIS, was shot by Boston police. And an Ohio man who police say trained with ISIS and planned to execute Americans last spring. According to the House Homeland Security Committee, at least 250 Americans have left the United States to be trained by ISIS in Iraq and Syria, and dozens have returned stateside completely battle-tested.
And when you're fresh off the battlefields of Syria, chopping heads, you're probably not going to transition peacefully back into civilian life when you return to the United States.
That was just proven in Paris. On Capitol Hill, I'm Jeff Barnes reporting.
Now we have new details about the man who organized those Paris attacks. Our Terrorism Alert Desk in Washington reports.
I'm Leon Harris reporting from the Terrorism Alert Desk with new information tonight about the Syrian refugee crisis. Canada's government is saying that it will resettle 10,000 of them by the end of the year and another 15,000 by the end of February. We're also getting some new details about Abdelhamid Abaoud, the man who organized the Paris attacks. Tonight, French authorities reveal another attack could have been just hours away when police closed in on Abaoud's hideout last week. Police are also saying at least 9 people were involved in the Paris attacks, which means the search is on now for at least 2 more people.
I think you'll absolutely see more raids in both Belgium and France. one thing that's important to think about here is the number of potentially radicalized people in both countries is a big number.
From the Terrorism Alert Desk, I'm Leon Harris.
And today, President Obama and French President Francois Hollande met to discuss broadening the international coalition fighting ISIS. Other than bombing targets in Syria and Iraq, what's the best strategy to defeat them? Be sure to tune in tomorrow night on KHQA News at 10 to find out the 60 nations that now make up the coalition fighting the terrorists and whether or not that group will soon grow to include Russia and China.
Closer to home now, improving the economy in West Central Illinois has to be a priority. That is the word from U.S. Congressman Darren LaHood.
And today in Adams County, Junior Achievement and Quincy Public Schools teamed up to introduce 8th graders to area professionals. KHQA's David Amilati has that story.
In 8th grade with school, sports, and family, do students take much time to consider their future?
No, not really.
To be fair, some students have a general idea.
I wanted to go into medical science, but I didn't know what job.
Now 8th grader Megan Mayero wants to focus on physical therapy after attending Tuesday's Begin with the End in Mind career fair at Quincy Junior High School. District Manager of Junior Achievement Denise Drabus says students prepared for the fair by taking an interest test, identifying soft skills, resume writing, and participating in mock interviews.
High school seems like a long way away for 8th grade. You know, oh, it's not till next fall that I'll really start that. And students have no idea how quickly those 4 years will go.
While Junior Achievement helps develop community youth, the Quincy Promise helps Quincy High School graduates with tuition at Johnwood Community College.
These are programs that directly connect students with employers and tell them how they can stay in our community.
U.S. Congressman Darren LaHood said he was impressed by the real-world learning provided by John.
Whether you're 18 or you're 48, you can come here and get a skilled education, whether it's robotics or transportation.
Quincy Fire Chief Joe Henning says it's never too early for a child to consider their future because it's only an advantage.
We don't want to label these kids in 8th grade and say, I'm going to be a firefighter, I'm going to be a police officer, but they need to start thinking now about what they want to do, because even the choices they make in high school are going to influence their ability to get the type of education and career they want later on down the road.
Strong storm system takes aim on the tri-states just in time for Thanksgiving. I'll show you what that means for our weather coming up next.
Now, your exclusive 7-storm team forecast.
And welcome back, everybody. We looked at mild conditions today as the southerly wind kicked in, bringing in a lot of moisture to the area, and that's going to increase our clouds into tomorrow and give us the chance for rain coming up here really for quite the next few days. We'll look at that almanac. Temperatures got up to 58 degrees in Quincy. That is 11 degrees above our average. Our low 34 degrees. Just a few degrees above our average as well. The first night that we haven't got down to freezing in quite some time. A look at the allergy index, seeing low concentration of tree pollen and a low concentration of the mold spore as well currently. And we look outside in Macomb right now, one of the cooler spots across the area. Temperature is 46 degrees, still pretty mild for late November, however. That wind's starting to pick up a little bit out of the south-southeast now at 13 miles per hour. Temperatures have been cooler to the north, although Pittsfield, you guys have actually dropped to 46 degrees, but still seeing some 50s in areas. Quincy, Hannibal, and out to the east in Jacksonville, even in Keokuk right now at 52 degrees. And we've seen temperatures up for our northern viewers, about 10 degrees lower than our southern viewers really for the last few days. The reason is, well, I took this visible satellite loop for a couple hours today. You could really see the snowpack still lingering from that snowstorm we got a couple days ago. We only saw a few flakes in some of our areas, but up to the north, they got quite a bit of snow. That snow really modifies the air around it, cools it off quite considerably, and some of that cooler air that's being modified by the snowpack is kind of sneaking into some of our northern neighborhoods, and that's why our temperatures haven't got quite as warm for our northern viewers. Now, look at the satellite and radar. We don't see the snowpack on this our satellite because this is specially designed to see the clouds during the nighttime hours, but you can see the higher clouds moving in from the west there, and as we zoom out, dry conditions still prevailing, but some clouds are starting to thicken up back to the west now, and that is because of a big storm system now moving on shore. Here's the upper levels, the jet stream, about 20,000 feet up in the air. Big dip in the jet stream here. You can see it off the west coast. It's going to move into our area, and as the surface, low pressure is going to develop. We get those southerly winds out ahead of that low pressure at the surface. And again, that's going to increase our moisture, going to increase our clouds, and going to increase our chances for rain, especially by Thanksgiving. After that low pressure moves into our area, it drops a cold front behind it, and guess what? Yeah, we could be talking about some moderate to pretty heavy rain across the area, especially by Thursday evening. And that Thanksgiving forecast, and we're talking about chances for rain pretty good. In fact, we could see, again, some pretty impressive rainfall totals in the area. Very warm temperatures, however, getting up to the low 60s. And once we get behind that cold front, temperatures are going to fall only in the lower 40s for highs both Saturday and Sunday. Any precipitation we do get, though, will be rain, I think. Lows tonight will get down into the lower 40s and upper 30s to the east there. High temperatures tomorrow will get into the upper or low to mid 50s tomorrow. We'll get to the upper 50s on Thursday there. In some places could actually see lower 60s for Thanksgiving. And then the cold front comes through, temperatures drop down there. I think all we're going to see is possibly rain, no snow in the forecast here, but looking like a little chilly after that cold front passes. And Thursday, Thanksgiving looking a little wet.
And it's already time for Sports Final again.
Yeah, Tuesday, Sports Final returns after the break with Chris Dewar. Don't miss it.
Now, from across the Tri-States, this is KHQA Sports.
And tip-top of the evening, everybody, and welcome to the return of Tuesday Sports Final, where high school basketball is officially now back in full-on swing tonight. Last night we tipped off with the Illinois boys season. Today, our first Show Me State action on both the boys and girls side, featuring on the boys side the team that we had featured and ranked #1 preseason in our entire area power poll. That would be the Bowling Green Bobcats, who made a trek over to Korf Gymnasium tonight and found it most unfriendly. These guys playing into it, chanting overrated perhaps, as Hannibal jumped out early in this one. Philip Dewama knocking down the three right there, and then some defense from the Pirates as they would set the tone in the first quarter. This is Shamar Griffith coming away with the loose ball, going to hook up with Eric Jones. Pretty finish for that guy right there. 16-10, Hannibal with the lead. More to come right here. Dylan Powell playing high post pivot passer, hooking up right here with the aforementioned Shamar Griffith. That made it an 8-point lead. Finally, Bowling Green stems some of the bleeding right here. Nice take by that fella. Oh, good stuff as well by Ryan Reynolds. Dylan Powell going to answer at the other end. The big fella doing work in this one. Bowling Green, though, would pack back into this one in the second quarter. Little defense by Tyus Chapman. He does that as well as anybody. He's going to miss, but Ryan Talkington, who was big for his team tonight, cleans up on the offensive glass, gets the putback. Talkington saying, increase the pace, and he would do exactly that, hitting the fadeaway right here to get this back to a 2-point game. Shamar Griffith at the end of the first quarter going to do some nice things as well with a three-pointer right there. This game was still tight at the half. Second half, though, third quarter more precisely. How about the Bowling Green comeback in this one? Oh, look at the block right here in the defense by the big fella Josh Early right there with a huge swattage. And then Mr. Ryan Talkington again with a great take as well. But Hannibal was having none of it tonight. Dylan Powell beasting up in the low blocks right here for the offensive putback. And then the big fella's going to step outside and hit a three in overtime tonight. Hannibal pulls off the upset, gets the win, and starts their season off right. 54-51 was your final. Beautiful win for the Pirates to jumpstart their year. How about some boys scores from Missouri tonight? Knox County wins a big one over tonight at Canton. Hayden Miller, what a monster night for him. 25 points, 7 boards. Bevere, too much for North Shelby. Louisiana gives Matt Smith his first career victory as a head coach, 61-58 at Pleasant Hill. Mark Twain loses to Paris tonight, and Scotland County wins one by 11 over Clark County. Chandler Bevins with 18 points in a losing cause. Move back to Illinois. Illini West making its season debut tonight over at the Pittsfield Socky Turkey Tournament. Payson Pride, hard to hide, even when you're hiding in this one. Payson not an easy team to open up with. Jensen Corzat with a nice steal right here. He's going to miss, but look at this guy, Jacob Douglas on the cleanup work. Still, too much Clayton Conrad early on in this one as he was lights afire, channeling his inner Splash brother right here as he hit the first 9 points of the game, all threes. Had 12 in the first half, and he was quite fired up, and as well he should have been. Not the only Payson Seymour Indian hitting threes in this one. Drew Burwinkle going to come free and knock down a triple as well. Kennedy Gooding and company gave Payson all they could handle in this game, but Payson Seymour too much. The Indians get the win tonight by the final count in this one of 61-54. How about Liberty making its debut and making it effectively against Lovejoy, looking great in this one. It was the Tate and Rose show tonight. He had 22 points, came free early, knocking this down. Cole Wellman good as well. Ended up with 21 points on the night as it was all about the Liberty Eagles in this one. More to come in this one from some Reed Wolfmeyer to show you, as well as it would be Liberty running away from this thing, blowing things open in the second quarter and winning big time. 85-49 was your final. A couple of Illinois scores to pass along to you tonight. Just two of them. Rout, no match for Macomb tonight as Grant Hannett beats up again. And also tonight, a victory as well in Illinois for West Prairie. Michael Purdy with 29 points to lead his team past Beardstown. Girls side, Keokuk visiting Quincy Notre Dame. Not an easy place to play. Early on in this game, Brooke Wade outside for Keokuk, trying to get her team some rhythm. Nice three for her, and then Skylar Johnston doing her thing as well. Off the nice feed right there as well. Knocking down the jumper. Q&D, though, too much in this one. Molly Penn stepping up strong and doing her thing right here. And getting the steal, the larceny, and the layup at the other end. More to come from Q&D. How about Olivia Heyer working hard for her own rebound right here? She would get it, she would put it back, and score as well. Keokuk trying to work around the horn here for another bucket as they tried to keep pace with Quincy Notre Dame's explosive scoring attack in this one. Alyssa Wessel with a nice bucket knockdown here. Too much Mackenzie Foley and company in this ball game. Quincy Notre Dame doesn't lose at home under Eric Orn, very rarely at least, and they weren't going to lose tonight. Big time win tonight over a very good Keokuk squad, 51-26, or 36, I should say, was your final. Other girls scores to pass along on the night. Quincy High School loses at Alleman 70-51 despite a huge night from Jada Humphrey. At the Pike County Conference Tournament, Payson fell by 10 to Brussels. Liberty, I believe, is your winner of the tournament. Liberty takes out Western tonight 61-37 behind a monster night from Michaela Leapley. Big win tonight, a Matt Long special. A Central Southeastern beats Unity's 37-28 against a pair of teams that might well be state ranked. Lainey Lance, remember the name, big time freshman with a big time step up in a game that was played at a very slow pace, just like Matt Long likes it. Also tonight, Lewiston, too much for West Prairie. Macomb rallies back to beat Mercer County as well. Over in Missouri, it was Kirksville knocking off Highland. Knox County winning on the road at Canton tonight. The Scotland County girls, they're going to be good. Khalees Bear with a big night in her team's victory over arch rival Clark County. Also, the Mark Twain girls felled by a very good Paris squad tonight. South Shelby 4 points less than Schuyler County on the night, and it was North Shelby knocking off Bevier 54-16 was your final. Some college basketball to show you from earlier today. It was elementary day at Western Hall. That meant 1,000 fans in attendance. Also meant the return of Ashton Luttrell, former Highland star, with 4 rebounds and 4 assists on the day. Michelle Farrow trying to start Western off on the good foot. She had 8 points on the day. Big day as well for Sophie Reichelt with a nice take here. The biggest days of which, however, for Western in the first half, held by Taylor Hickenbotham, the outstanding freshman who had her first career double-double. She was really good on the day with 15 points. Also, Michelle Maher had 29 points, new career high for her. But SEMO, who's off to a great start, Miss Luttrell's team, Ashton Luttrell and company, get the job done. They get the win today at Western Hall, beating the Leathernecks 89-84 was your final. A couple of scores to leave you with in college basketball today. On the women's side, John Wood at home tonight, losing to Carl Sandburg despite the heroics of Miss Lexus Fox. And a loss tonight as well for the Illinois College men to Cornell. Cody Hildebrand, the pride of Payson Seymour, with 14 points in the defeat. We've got more basketball coming your way tomorrow, college and high school. We'll see you then, everybody.